Hello guys, it is me, and it's HorrorFan34, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to day 7 of this 10-day Thankskilling Day challenge, or 10-day challenge that was created by Brother Peanut Butter. Now, if you guys are new to this series of videos, and if you're new to what this challenge is about, basically what this challenge is that Brother Peanut Butter, who is a subscriber of mine, who's a great supporter of mine as well, basically what he did was he created this challenge where for 10 days you review 10 horror films from the 12th to the 22nd, because it's for Thanksgiving, for the month of November. So basically each day you review a horror film for 10 days. Each day is a different kind of genre of horror, like a different kind of category, I guess you would say, for horror films. So basically with day 1 was slashers, day 2 was creature features, day 3 was sci-fi horror, day 4 was Italian horror, day 5 was Japanese and Korean horror, and then day 6 was Frenchies, or French horror films. Now that we are on day 7, this is independent horror films. So basically, I had to scroll through really carefully through my collection to see what kind of independent horror films I had. I almost forgot that this film that I'm going to review was actually an independent film. And I've been really meaning to talk about this film for quite a while, because it's personally one of my personal favorite horror films from the past 10 years, without a doubt. And of course, if you can tell by the title, that review is going to be on The Babadook. Now, The Babadook was released in 2014, written and directed by Jennifer Kent. This is really one of those films where it's just a very well-made film. It's a very independent film, but it's a really well-done film. Basically the story is that you have the single mother whose husband dies years back, and then many years later, her and her son are living together now. A younger son that she has, and her son is always having these terrible nightmares and things like that. So basically his mother ends up reading him the story called The Babadook, and then the kid ends up kind of becoming obsessed with the Babadook character, which you see on the back here, and this figure here, and then strange things start to happen around the house, and there's a really weird, sinister, a strange, I don't really know how to say it, like some sort of creepy vibe that's going on around the house, and she starts hearing stuff and things like that. And that's basically what The Babadook is about. I mean, looking at The Babadook, reading the back here, you have a couple of quoted, very well-known horror people in the back here that really enjoy this film. I've never seen a more terrifying film than The Babadook. It will scare the hell out of you as it did me. William Friedkin from The Exorcist quoted that. And then deeply disturbing and highly recommended, Stephen King. So even Stephen King gave this movie props. So William Friedkin and Stephen King are big fans of this film, which is pretty cool. And it rightfully deserves to be loved by a lot of people, because this film gets a lot of really good reviews and things like that, and I think it's well worth it. It's a really well done independent horror film. I think that the acting is very solid, especially the little kid who plays the son. I think he does a fantastic job. He plays a really, he's scared and he fears a lot of things, and I think the kid did a great job in the acting department. I think the actress who plays the mom, she does a great job as well. It's beautifully directed, really creepy music. I love the design of the Babadook character. Actually, if you can open this up, you can see the Babadook character kind of popping out like that. Really creepy looking character, the Babadook, and especially a lot of creepy parts with the Babadook character, especially this one part where the mom is laying in bed, and then you see the Babadook kind of pop up out of nowhere, overhead like this, and looking down at her when she's laying in bed, and things like that. I mean, just really creepy stuff with that. And, you know, the Babadook, it's really one of those horror films that I just love. I mean, I think a lot of horror films, like nowadays, like the ones that do like jump scares and things like that, they really need to take notes on how to do a horror film with a really creepy, with how to do a really creepy horror film. Because you know a lot of like horror films that nowadays, like the Bye Bye Man and, you know, Devil's Due, like, you know, they just rely like on the jump scares and things like that. But, you know, jump scare films are fine, but like, you know, I like films with jump scares, you know, but like when they're not done well, then, you know, it's not really well done. And I think really horror films like should take notes from this movie, because this is a really good example of a really good suspenseful horror film with not a lot of cheap jump scares. I mean, it's got a couple jump scares here and there. I will say that. It's got a couple jump scares, but it's really one of those kinds of jump scares where they do it like with a slow burn, and then you kind of expect it at the time you think it's going to happen, but then it doesn't, and it keeps building up, and then it kind of comes out of nowhere. I think that's like the right way to do a jump scare, like especially like when you watch like the Conjuring films, for example. You know, when you watch the Conjuring films, like when it gets all quiet and things like that, like you think like a jump scare is going to happen, and then you think it's going to happen now, and then nothing happens, and it just keeps building, slowly burning, like a slow burn, keeps building up, and then you don't expect it. And I think that's the right way to do jump scares, and I think this is really one of those horror films that does it well. Because, you know, when you look, because like, and on top of that too, the Babadook is a really great throwback to those old school like 70s movies, like just like with the Conjuring films. I mean, those are really great throwbacks to like 70s horror films with a really slow burn, creepy premise. And I think the Babadook is a prime example of one of those horror films that is just a really good slow burn, creepy atmosphere, creepy music, things like that. It doesn't rely heavily on jump scares. It's kind of more of a slow burn movie with creepy images, creepy concept, really creepy looking character in the Babadook itself. And, you know, the Babadook is really one of those films that I just cannot recommend enough if you're a big fan of independent horror films. The acting's very solid overall. You know, it's directed very well. It's, like I said, it's beautifully directed for an independent movie. You know, I love the look of the Babadook character. Love the look of the character of the Babadook. It's really creepy looking images in the film. And it's one of those horror films that I just adore, and really great throwback to those old school 70s movies like The Conjuring and things like that. You know, because I know this came out a year after The Conjuring, so these were kind of like around like the same times. And you know, when people like slow burn horror films like in the past couple of years, like The Conjuring and The Babadook always come to mind. And even not too long ago with this year with Hereditary, which is another great slow burn horror film. You know, horror films like, you know, nowadays, like a lot of the ones that, like, a lot of the crappy ones that come out, you know, like Bye Bye Man and things like that, take notes on movies like this and like The Conjuring or Hereditary or It Follows, for example, even. I mean, those are prime examples of how to make really good horror films, and you put a lot of effort into them. You make them creepy, very solid acting. It's very direct, very solidly directed, very beautifully shot, great cinematography, great music, very solid cast. You know, horror films nowadays should take notes from films like this, The Conjuring, and things like that. I mean, nowadays, I mean, like, you know, I'm a huge horror fan. You know, I like films with jump scares and things like that, but if it's a horror film that I'm not too much of a fan of, then the jump scares don't do nothing for me. I mean, like, I don't like those. I like jump scares when they're done well. You know, I don't like those cheap jump scares that you see in a lot of horror films nowadays. Like, this has jump scares, a couple of them. The Conjuring has a couple jump scares, things like that. But those are the kind of jump scares that are done the right way, and it really pulls you into the movie. And I think that this film, The Babadook, does a great job at pulling you in. It's very solidly directed, beautifully shot, very solid acting, creepy idea, great looking, creepy looking character of the Babadook itself. And overall, I can't say much more about the Babadook. Very well done horror film. So that is pretty much it for my review for the Babadook, and thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Alright guys, take care.